Good morning. This is Aquiles Larrea. On a little brisk morning here in New York City. The Larrea Wealth Market Commentary is brought to you by Starbucks. Nah, just kidding. Hope you've had a great weekend. Let's get caught up. So, first off, we're hearing that Jerome Powell and the Fed has been served subpoenas. And the question really is, what's the end game on this? Did Trump not like the fact that the Fed wasn't following his assumptions that interest rates should be much, much lower, and that Jerome Powell and the committee, right or wrong, did the exact opposite? Is it politically motivated? Possibly. Now, the question now becomes the integrity of the Fed from this point on is going to be tested. And where it goes from this point is anyone's guess. It sure calls to attention the fact that the impartiality of the Fed for future administrations may be somewhat muted or could go away entirely, which in my opinion is not a great thing. The Fed's there, two big major reasons: to control inflation and to maximize employment. Without an impartial Fed, things could be tilted towards the government of choice. And then when the real trouble starts, what happens? Just a couple of thoughts on that. Okay, so we're into January right now. A lot of gains are made during this time of year. We're seeing some sector rotation. There is talk that retail is starting to pick up at this point. I'm still loving the defense area. I'm loving the aerospace area. We love nuclear. There's plenty of spaces to make money in those areas where you can fill half a portfolio with some of those names. High quality strategic acquisition. So keeping that in mind. Now, another thing I want to call to mind with today is the fact that a lot of gains that are made throughout the year are usually done in the first quarter. And it's really because a lot of investors are ramping up what they want to hold on to for the rest of the year and simply do adjustments throughout the year. So that's why you might see that. Another thing you want to keep in mind is as we go into the first quarter here, just understand that not everything occurs the way it's supposed to in the market. Market is very optimistic, but that doesn't mean the economy is going to follow suit. So corporate earnings are a good indicator of what we're going to see going forward. We saw a little bit of preview in the CPI numbers, right, Consumer Price Index numbers, of the health of the economy as a whole. But that's never a given. And we could launch, here's the problem, going back to the Fed. If you are too aggressive, you launch us into a recession. If you are too passive, then even worse, stagflation. So there has to be a balance there, and the Fed has balanced and done really well on that front over the years. As a matter of fact, if you look at Jerome Powell's been with the Fed 4 administrations, and now they're beating up on him. This isn't the first time they're beating up on him, by the way. They did so back in Trump's first administration. Trump's never been a fan. That's just a fact. The question now becomes, as he leaves office and a new Fed chair comes into play, what will happen now? And that's as good as anybody's guess. Beautiful things that are happening. Also, this is a time of year, if you haven't begun to increase the portion of your 401k, it's a good time to do so. If you haven't started contributing more to your IRAs, individual retirement accounts, why not? Get into it. Lastly, Who's great for Larrea Wealth? If you're retiring, you're close to retirement, 3 months off, you got a lot of big and small decisions you need to make at this point. Guess what? We can help with that because you weren't qualified to do that. We're going to help you get there bit by bit. Doesn't happen in a day. A lot of our clients have been with us since the 90s when we were at the big box investment houses. Second, you're switching jobs, or you've been outed, or you've been exited early. That being the case, why would you keep your 401k with a company that made the bad decision to let you go? So I say this, get somebody like us to come and evaluate what's going on. Not only is your money going to last, but how can you maximize it? Avoid unnecessary taxes. Lastly, if you're sick and tired of being your own financial advisor, this is the only industry that I've heard of where you've been consistently told, I don't need a financial advisor. Let me tell you, brother, you need one. Schwab did a study way back when, and it showed, it backfired on them. They thought you didn't need an advisor, but percentages have shown that you do 4 to 6% better with a financial advisor in your corner, and that's who we are. I'm Aquiles from Larrea Wealth Management. Make it a great week.